Right, we'll get back underway. Thank you for the enthusiasm of those councillors that are in the chamber. The next item up is the one that I did skip through previously, which is the Waikato Regional Spatial Inventory. Do you want to introduce anything in this space, Tracy, or jump straight into it?
I think jump straight into it. It's really just buttoning off work we've already done. Over to you, Miffy.
Yes. So I was just going to give you a little summary of what is in the report, but I think we can take that as read. If you have any questions, happy to answer them, but we do have that workshop on the framework this afternoon. So great. Excellent.
No questions for the ladies?
Lots of questions.
Away you go, Ben.
Okay, so two things. Last time round, I asked about the cultural and heritage side, and I note here you've clarified the cultural and heritage theme, but to do that, what you've actually said is we will ignore everyone else's culture and only focus on, while there are many cultures and ethnic groups who call Waikato home, this theme is focused on Indigenous culture and heritage. I fundamentally disagree with that. I think that a spatial strategy has to look at culture and heritage across the board. My father was director of the Art Museum here for 15 years. There's a lot of culture and heritage that is not just iwi related. I don't object to the pages that you've got on iwi culture and heritage, but there has to be other cultures and heritage, and it needs to be included in a whole separate chapter, and it's not here. And so I want to know why that hasn't been included. And also I note that even in the iwi related stuff, it says that there are other culturally important sites, heritage and archaeological. The spatial layer does not visually differentiate between Maori cultural sites and other heritage sites. So clearly there's heritage sites here included, but they're all lumped together under Indigenous culture and heritage. And so I would like a separate section on culture and heritage, and a subset is Indigenous culture and heritage, and the rest is there as well. Another point on that is, I'd ask specifically about populations, and I note here on the graph you've got, the page you've got here, it mentions, I think, page 7 of your document, page 228. The note here is the ethnic makeup of the region is similar to New Zealand overall, but has a significantly higher share of people identifying Maori, 25% versus 17%, lower shares identifying Pacific and Asian. But in actual fact, the Asian is 12% and the Pacifica is 5%. I'd like that included in there, and that the European is 72%. When you come over the page to the actual graph, we have here that our total population is 498,771, and then it goes the breakdown of ethnicities. When you add up all the breakdown of ethnicities, it comes to 550,965. So there's a $50,000 that person deficit in there, or people. So that possibly needs to be adjusted if it's at all possible. The second point is coming to the map. Sorry, this is just find it. So those are the heritage issues. The map on page 232, and this sets out key stakeholders for the Waikato regional strategy. And we don't have business there. We've got developers. We seem to have everyone but the people who should be included in a regional strategy. When we come over the page to 235, we're listed people like Sports Waikato and regional tourism entities, the Northern Infrastructure Forum. There is no mention of business. There's no mention of Chamber of Commerce. There's no mention of Fonterra. There's no mention of quarries. There's a whole lot of things that need to be assessed from a strategy perspective that aren't on your diagram.
So in terms of the diagram, there were comments last time around community, and that there were different sectors of the community, and we had a discussion around whether we change that and specify rural community, business community, all these different ones, but there was a risk that we then miss someone out. And so
it's in the outer diagram where you've got Te whatu ora, Ministry of Education, Sport Waikato, utility providers, transport, housing, and then just one thing for developers. There's really nothing in there for business.
Okay, noted. We can
Is it
amend that.
through you,
Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Rosie?
is it simple for, putting something in there around business community, commercial stakeholders, developers?
Absolutely.
Yes, we can make it encompass.
And I would
Yeah.
hope, because that's the stakeholders we're going to be consulting. So I would hope that we would be talking to the Chambers of Commerce and the Fonterras, and we're short of rubbish facilities, and there's a whole lot of infrastructure type things that need to be included in a spatial map. If Turahira is closing, and we've got a map of where the rubbish is going, and there's nowhere for it to go to, that needs to be in a spatial strategy.
I can just throw in there,
So-
I pushed for this during the workshop and got pushed back and said community covered everybody. But Ben is picking up on the point that I made at the workshop. So
Yes.
So those are my points.
Yes, thank you. So yes, we heard what you said last time, and as part of the framework, we are proposing to do that stakeholder mapping so that we can actually nail down who we should be talking directly to and at what stage and that type of thing. So that is something that is coming. For the inventory, it's more about noting at a higher level, and then we're going to go into that detail around the framework about so the inventory saying we have communities of interest that we need to talk to, and then the framework, that's where we're getting into the detail. So that is coming later today.
Okay, well, I'd like to see another report showing who we're actually talking to, because I would have thought the inventory, like the energy strategy inventory, would be comprehensive. It's assessing what's out there. And to me, there's a lot of stuff in a regional strategy that's not being picked up.
I can just make a quick comment there. That was exactly why we had the workshop. You raised some of those issues there, some are new today. I guess I also just want to reiterate that this is an iterative process, so it's not, you didn't mention it, so we're not going to include it. So as we go along, we will definitely include what we can within the resources we've got available. But I just want to give you some assurance that, we will continually feed into the process, because you might not see some words in the inventory. As we said at the workshop, we didn't include everything in there, and we knew that as we go along, more staff will be coming in, depending on, as you said, if a particular issue happens, something shut down, we're going to need to talk to other people and understand it, and also understand the interplay between a regional economic development strategy and a spatial strategy. Which is a parent, which is a child, are they spouses, just kind of understanding all that. So we're hearing you. We have made the change. We've made some changes, not others, because different parts of the project will likely pick those up. In respect, I think, Miffy, in respect to the changing of the map around culture and heritage, it was specifically to recognise iwi partnerships and iwi culture. There will be other more detailed information that come in that pick up some of those other things that you've identified there, Councillor.
I would say that culture and heritage should be a heading, and it should set out a broad overview of culture and heritage with maps of non-Indigenous sites and then you break down to the separate map you've already done. Otherwise, there's 10% of the Asian community that's being ignored. It's like, this is supposed to encompass everyone.
Sorry, if I can just go back to where are these 50,000 people that have disappeared to? We've gone back to, we won't after 2030, to the census tax. So we've taken it from there and their percentages, because we know, and some of those don't align. I guess it's just making sure we identify those caveats, because if we come up with different percentages, someone will say, well, these are the official percentages, you're out. So there are anomalies there. It's just explaining those, but we'll go through and make sure we catch those.
So you're happy with that? And where that heads? No, yeah. Front of us now, okay, yeah. No.
I just want to reinforce Ben's point, because the issue for me is I went to a presentation in relation to JP National Conference, and the Deputy Director of the Ministry of Justice presented to us And he said from their research, New Zealand will consist of 50% Asian derived persons from 2050, and the European population percentage would drop considerably, and Maori would increase slightly. So we've got a changing dynamic. We're a multicultural society, but we have a partnership. We've got the treaty and all that, but New Zealand is a multicultural. So the very least we could do is acknowledge in the document that there are other cultures and there are cultural sites relating to those cultures, but it's not one-sided. And so therefore, and as we grow, we've got our own culturally important things. So, you know, could we just maybe tweak it a little bit? That's all.
Thank you.
How about you leave that with us, and then we'll come back to you and show you exactly what we've done and how we've responded. Yep.
Any other questions on this? Yep, so noted. I have a mover in Councillor Smith, a seconder in Councillor Hodge. Thank you. All those in favour? Opposed? So carried. Righto, the next one up is our standard submission summary report,
Yes.
page 353. And we're back down the end again.
Yes. So I'll take the report as read. However, there are a few little additions that I just want to flag with you. I have reduced the level of detail I'm going to give you, but since that report was written, we have had the Select Committee report on the Reform Bill 2 released. So they have made a number of recommendations to the government in response to the submissions that were made on that consultation document. We haven't had a chance to really go through in great detail, but it doesn't look like they've picked up necessarily a number of our submission points, but we can go through that in more detail and provide you that detail if you want. Tracy, did you have a point to make on that?
Just something I'd like to raise with the councillors. Chair Pamela has recently been made aware of this, but one of the points that we raised in our submission to the RM number 2 bill was overlooked by the government. We have Brent and Rudd and Spy have been working pretty closely together off the back of the Plan Change 1 decision, and we're about to seek a letter. Brent's been crafting a letter that we're wanting co-signed by our Chief Executive and our Chair to ministers to let them know the implications of not picking up one of our submission points in the RM number 2 bill, which is what I'm getting to, which is the potential that will require resource consents for roughly 2,500 farms that isn't actually intended by Plan Change 1. So we've raised it with officials from MFE and MPI. We're wanting to make sure it gets in front of ministers because it's an issue that we want to make the government aware of. We've had responses back from officials that it was considered and that the Select Committee considered that it's perhaps within the purview of the court around Plan Change 1. We're just wanting to say, hey, there might be a risk that you're actually making things more problematic than good. So once we've got that letter fired away, we will copy it to all councillors so you're aware of that.
Can I ask that we have a look at the letter before it goes, please?
I think it's just about to go. I mean, the time is of the essence. So, yeah, it's very technical. I will see. I'm stuck here at the moment. Yeah, we've got a few technical experts across it. It's entirely consistent with our submission. We'll get it to you as soon as we can, I guess. I'm just stuck here at the moment. Thanks.
Could you just explain again in simpler terms what exactly it is the RM reforms are going to impact and cause 2,500 consents that don't need to happen?
No, we have the RM number 2 bill that Select Committee has reported back on. They didn't pick up the submission point that we said, hey, there might be the possibility of, if you don't address this, there may be up to roughly 2,500 farmers that may need to require a consent for something, and you address it. They had a look at it, said, yep, okay, we understand what you're saying, but we think that's something that the judge could fix through Plan Change 1. We're saying what we want to do is minimise the risk and make the government aware of if they end up requiring a resource consent. That's not awesome. Yeah. So no, the judge actually identified it as a matter in PC1. That was something that the judge identified, awaiting central government direction on the RM number 2 bill. And he has indicated we'll wait to see where that lands as to what certainty I can provide in the decision. Correct. Sorry, my feet.
No, that's quite all right. Okay, I also wanted to flag, you may have heard in the media that in regards to that bill, Cabinet has agreed to insert a new regulation making power into the RMA, which gives them the ability to modify or remove provisions in local council plans if they negatively impact economic growth, development capacity or employment. So this is fairly new. But before they use that power, the minister must check whether a council is what they're doing is consistent with the national direction under the RMA and engage with the council. And it's only an interim measure while the government works to reform the planning laws, which are due to take effect in 2027. So it is a new thing we haven't seen before, that they can come in and directly influence or change a council plan. And that's not something we have the ability to comment on. That bill will have its second reading in the coming weeks and is expected to pass into law fairly soon.
Jennifer.
I did see that yesterday. I was wondering, what is the scope of that? Is it just in regards to housing? It's since it came through there, or could it be wider?
It's pretty broad. It's pretty broad.
Okay.
That's all we have in the media really.
We don't have much detail.
We
Thank
don't
you.
have much detail. So.
Yep.
Okay, and hot off the press this morning, the government has announced that they're progressing a bold work program to increase productivity and efficiency through comprehensively reforming New Zealand's land transport rules. So some aspects will be consulted on in October this year, with the rest expected to be consulted on next year. So there's a range of things around licensing, vehicle categories, a whole range of things which may have impacts on us, but we won't know till we see the detail.
And Mr. Chair, just for those councillors who weren't present at Risk and Assurance yesterday, yes, I mentioned that we've been given an indication that the systems improvement reform, which is the local government system reform, we've been told we can expect that by the end of the month, which is next week. So there's a little bit happening.
Yes.
Stu, did you?
Sorry, is that the reform of local government or regional government?
It is not the reform of local regional government, it's looking at the purpose statement for local government.
So we also have a new thing that has come out, which you will be coming to council, is the national direction. So Lizette, I will hand to you.
Perhaps in the interest of time, we could take it as read, but just to update you that the package 4 of 4 consultation packages was released yesterday. So we will do our best endeavours to bring you submissions on all 4 packages at once, so you can see how they are interrelated. And that's at the end of next month is when we plan to bring that to you all. It is quite comprehensive, as you may have noticed. There is a long list of national direction under each package. So deconstructing that and understanding it is what we are very busy with currently, and then drawing out submission points for your consideration. So coming to you very soon with a better explanation of an overview of them all.
Thank you, Lizette. Any further questions?
Happy to move.
Thank you, Jennifer. Seconder. Thank you, Chris. All those in favour? Opposed? So carried. Thank you for that. We now have a resolution to move into public excluded. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Chris. All those in favour? Opposed, so carried. Just give Jordan a minute to